Hello! Welcome to my first video ever! I just discovered that something that I've been doing for about 2 years is a thing that other people do and make videos about and talk about with each other as a community, and I want into that club. So this is my application to your glue book club. Ta-da! I want to take you through my past, present, and future of methods, themes, and just like how this all started and where I ended up. What I found on YouTube is that people have there's just like the whole range is out there. There are people with really nice themed glue books. There are people who just journal for no reason is what they call it, and I think that's beautiful because everything I do is for no reason. This is my cat. Hello, cat. Yeah, make yourself at home. I knew that as soon as I pressed record this was going to happen, so I asked for it. So the first book that I ever made is not a glue book, there's no glue in it, and it actually started out as a planner. I started making just my own little scrapbook journals and planners because they're free, they're super easy to make, and they're lightweight. You know, it takes up a lot less space in my backpack than a big old journal meant for the entire year. And like, who plans that far in advance anyway? You know what I mean? So what I was doing was I was just taking scrap paper that I had from old assignments, and I was just taking old scrap paper that I had laying around and stapling it, you know, folding it in half, stapling it. I'm sure everybody watching this has I'm sure everybody watching this has made this kind of bound book. You just take an 8.5 by 11, fold it in half, stick them together, and then staple it 2 times down the middle. Bow, bow. So that was how I planned my life for a couple years in school. And then taking that same method of folding a piece of paper in half and stapling it with an 11 by 17 piece of paper, you can fold it in half and get an 8.5 by 11 book. So this was my senior thesis synthesis. As I collected information about my thesis in college over the course of my senior year, I was printing out a lot of information to stick it up on my board, and I needed somewhere to stick all that information at the end of my project. So since I was making so many little planners like these, I was like, let me just make a big one and stick everything in it. So, yes. What? So, opening it up, you know, this is where my thesis started. How can we enhance language to make it more personal? I thought I was going to be studying language for my thesis, but it evolved way beyond that as a thesis question tends to do as you research it and try and turn it into something concrete that you can actually solve. So as you can see, this is just like any thought that I had, any process that I went through was on paper so that I could show it to my teachers and my fellow classmates. So it all had to go somewhere in the end. I could have thrown it out. That would have been probably the more reasonable thing to do. But no, I saved every little piece of paper and it's all in here. So, you know, who or what does not have access to the words they need? Like, these are all just like the questions I was asking myself. Some of them are double-sided, which is why they're taped in like that. And this just goes on, and you can see how it's kind of fun to flip through now that I'm looking at it. You know, who doesn't have access? People in prison. Guess where my thesis ended up being? Guess what I ended up talking about? Prison industrial complex? Yes. So my research is all just here. You know, it's all people I interviewed are all in here. You know, little pieces of information I thought were relevant, little sketches I did, posts I printed out. And this was a process of going down the school to prison pipeline that I drew as a diagram, and it was up on my board for a while, and it of course ended up in here. So this process of taking every mental thought I had and turning it into something physical that I could document and revisit later was really satisfying and valuable to me. I mean, I know that won't affect everybody the same way, but this is really satisfying to me, being able to flip through and like see, process, relearn, see, like it's just fun to flip through. This was like an art show I went to and presented my project as it was at that moment, at that point in the process. This is all stuff that was on my board, so I was taking inspiration. I did a media campaign, so I did some research on media that affects people. So obviously, Courage the Cowardly Dog has a lot of very visceral moments in it. So it was inspiring to my project. Oh yeah, the fold-outs. So much information. If you read really fast, you can get a quick lesson on the prison industrial complex right now, and activism and why it matters. Just ask Angela Davis. Anyway, so these two types of bookmaking I just really enjoyed. So even after I was finished with school, I wanted to continue making little fun books, and there's never a shortage of paper junk in our lives, ever. I think we can all agree on that. So from there, I thought I'll just make little collage books, like I'll take all my random pieces of art and, post-it notes and things, little memories, like, scrapbooking and collaging and journaling all together. So, and also I didn't want to keep on spending money on sketchbooks, especially when what I put in sketchbooks is just crap, Finished art is on finished art canvases. Everything in my sketchbook is like garbage. So here's an example of one of the first books I did where I was like, let me just like paint over some scrap paper, cover up the words, and like turn each spread into just an opportunity to like be messy and not care and just like scribble. So this isn't finished. I think this is one that like I did such basic little scribbles in just for the sake of designating this as like a scribble notebook. So that's that one. These are all four of these are just, these are like junk journals. Like they're gross kind of, but in a handmade way. So this one is not finished, but it has a whole lot of different kinds of pages in it, which is why I like it. Like some of these are just straight up from school. Like these are some of my sketches from school, product sketches. This is like obviously a collage page where I've got some magazine in there, I've got some drawing in there, I've got some glitter in there, I've got some nail polish in there. So this is what I intended like the whole book to be, is like this spread, like a mixture of mediums. But in typical me fashion, I never finished it. So it's a work in progress. All of these are a work in progress. And that's something that I think is really cool about glue books. It doesn't have to be polished and finished. It can be a work in progress forever. And it's still serving its purpose, which is to be a collection. So as you can see, there are some pages where I like painted them beforehand and then stuck them in, and then there are some that I left blank and then covered later. There's a lot of nail polish dots in these books because for a couple months I was just completely obsessed with using nail polish as like using nail polish as like an art medium. Ooh, because it's like 3D and it's glossy and it stinks. I love that stink. It's probably an unpopular opinion. This one is similar, where I've got nail polish drippy drops, but in this one, I think I tried to make each page kind of like a story, so that each page actually has some words on it. So, let's see what we have in here. I haven't opened this in quite some time. Alright, so it looks like I tried to go for relevance. So, dogs twice over. 2 dog foods. So clever. Football champions. I don't see any football, but I tried. Hungry baby, death watch miracle worker. Stem cells, rhythm, election. Okay, got it. I haven't looked at these in ages. This is interesting. Think of Syria or Afghanistan. Okie dokie. Lots of bananas. These are from a project I did in school. These are my banana sketches. Avocado beat beat butt beat about boot. Movement. Bananas. When push comes to shove, a brief history of sitting down. It's almost like I thought I was being funny on some of these. He wanted to see how the sausage is made. Frozen sticker. Some images I come across and I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with that, but it's going in a book, you know? They're just too good to pass by. So here's one that's just like a doodle page that I glued in there. Some skin tones and little poems about people. Ooh, nature. You break it. Related images. You buy it. Okay. So much glitter. That's so thick. So thick. Who's invasive? Madeline. As of now, I plan on playing until they tell me I can't play anymore. Related image. Okay, got it. Got it. I thought I was so clever, I guess. Doctor ordered and created. Love them like family. Transform anything into fashion. Ooh, it's a shiny purple color. I like that. So, whoa. So obviously not complete, but fun to flip through no matter what stage it's at. You know what I'm saying? How fun. And then this is the most recent of these, I believe. This is the closest one that's like to finished, I guess you could say. Human, won't you change something? Please get back. The Martha system. Her name isn't Martha, but it is now. So in this one, I believe I also tried to stick with like some themes, put words in that were related to the images, except in that case, I guess. This is some like headlines from the Financial Times, and they don't make any sense with the images. Laptop in Lebanon led to the Polar Express. Ah, nailed it. Nailed it. Send your kids to school if you care. Okay. Okay, okay, okay. Yes, some some cab vouchers from my internship a couple years ago at TerraCycle. Ooh. Look at these fashionistas. Look at those abstract shapes. So art. Murphy declares no boundaries between your time out of mind and his freedom from grains. Alright, well that's a beautiful story right there. Oops. Ah! Alright. Girl meets boy. Tragedy. Yes, this is a page where I like handed this to my friend who had no desire to do any part of this, but I forced her to. I just gave her this spread and I was like, narrate it, write down what you see happening, and she wrote this. Perfect! Okie dokie. Okie dokie. We got some Beanie Babies over here. That's a cheesecake moment for sure. It's what I think when I see that. Lay on the chimes. Plot twist, we added banana slices. Oh, so funny. Okay, some images, some more banana project right there. Feed them like family. Okay. For a second I couldn't tell if that food was printed onto there or not. It's not. I glued it like that. Oh my god, there's more. Okay. That's the end of that book right there. Again, not totally finished, unless you say it is. Now this one is probably my biggest failure, like, in life, because I made this in 2019, last year, and it was going to be my 2020 planner. So I made signatures, like I planned out each month and gave them tabs. Like, this is the most planning I've ever done about anything. And then 2020 said, you thought. So let's see what I thought I was gonna do last year, and then clearly didn't. As you can see, it lasted, yeah, you can see where Corona hit, and then I just, that's funny. So lots of nail polish. This is some scrap fabric that I don't remember what it was left over from, but I sewed it, very sloppily stitched it together, and it smells awful. I don't know what I glued it with, but it smells like formaldehyde, straight up. So those are some commission, that's my commission page from last year. So each month has like a spread. And then each week has a spread. So I was like really reaching for it, you know? I was setting myself up for some work. And every week I was like filling this spread. Every week I was doing something. Every day I was doing something in here. So every month has like a collage, has like an empty spread where you like, I just left myself room to like go crazy. So here's a week spread. Oh yeah, see, week 2 of the whole year. So I planned like crazy, and like some of these are glittery. Ooh, that's glittery. Here's my another collage spread. Lots of nail polish and glitter. One Nation under Boris. Week 3. Ooh. Orange for week 4. Oh yeah, and every month had like a color. So as you can see, January has all like reds, maroons, and purples. That spread is an exception. How do you say? Meat. What? Thanks for being my furry. Week 5. Woo! Some of these are kind of pretty. I haven't looked at this in ages. More! And February. Okay, so now we can see the color schemes really well. So January is like purple and maroon. February is like red-orange. Did I ever get to March? Nope. lot of stickers that I've picked up at art shows, craft fairs. I love me some cheap stickers. It's a way I can support artists without going broke, because I myself am a broke artist. I understand. So like February is looking pretty sparse compared to January. I believe I was planning on having a whole year, you know, to like, oh, and when I have a day off, I'll just go through and fill up my empty pages. But like, ooh, so this spread is all restaurant, food prepping packaging. So all the stickers that we would use to like label food and when it had to be used by. Back of house people know what's up. And that's the end of the first signature. As you can see, I didn't stitch them close together whatsoever. And these pages are stuck together, but also I never got to them, so it doesn't matter. But since I never used this planner, because 2020 was unplannable, you know, I have all these spreads that are just never going to get used the way that they were set up to be used. So, ooh, there's a sticker from my friend Lerm. So yeah, you can tell that I really had big dreams with this one, and it didn't happen. It just didn't happen because you know what happened. So I just want everyone to take a moment and appreciate this. Because if it ever does get finished, it's going to be the most unplanned planner anyone has ever planned, and it's going to be a wild ride when it does get finished. So that wraps up my first method of glue booking, which is just random things, random mediums, all thrown together onto pages that are already assembled. Alright, so now I want to show you what I'm doing currently, which is a lot more organized and thematic. So, like I was just saying, 2020's been memorable. And for a while I had a roommate who received The Economist magazine. So I don't have an entire year's worth, but I have like a good stack of The Economist magazines. It's a weekly magazine, so there's lots of content coming out very regularly. So it's great if you need, you know, some images, and you'll see why. Now, it also is not a completely unbiased publication, so if anything in these offends your political opinions, I'm sorry. You can literally blame the media in this situation. So the first one, I took all the magazines that I have are from like this chunk of time. So this represents these 4 books represents September 28th, 2019 to May 16th, 2020. And each one is about 2 months of the political cartoon and some related images I could find in the magazine related to that cartoon. So all of the political cartoons are by Cal. I think his real name is like Kevin Lumahar. I don't remember. But he goes by Cal. That's like his professional name. So the first one we've got, I'm just going to show you, like they're all built the same way, so I won't walk you through every single one. And they're not finished. I have them, they're all in different stages of production. So I'm putting a label with the issue date on the left-hand side. And then the center spread for each one is, I left dateless to make them all fit, you know, I wanted the issues I have to fit evenly into 4 books, so I spaced things out as I had to. So with this, I think they make good like coffee table books, you know? I mean, like they're about something. They're a little look into a time And yeah, cartoons by Cal, assembled by me, Ingrid Nodal. And so that's the first one, and the second one is almost, this one's like pretty much finished. All I have to do is staple it together. I've glued everything down. Everything is like in there. I just have to staple it. And then this one, everything is mostly glued in. There might be some pieces of tape flying out of here. But again, the reason that I think these are great coffee table books is because since these are dated, you know, they make great little stories, because week by week you can see what was going on, you know, all around the world, not just in the US. So I think they're kind of cool. And also the illustrations and photos in The Economist, awesome. Like, they have great little titles under the pictures that just make them such zingers. And like, look at these! They're such good little cartoons. And like, every magazine is like, each page has an awesome little illustration like these, you know what I mean? It's just so good. And the captions under the photos kill me. Like, in need of oomph. Like, yeah, okay, dude. Okay, dude. Okay, dude. I think it's hilarious. Better late than never. And then this most recent one, obviously May 16th isn't that recent, but it's the most recent magazine that I have, because the roommate who received this magazine did move out, and I no longer have access to his subscription. So sad. I could pay for my own, I guess. That's a future endeavor. But yeah, so as you can see, these are just taped in there loosely. I haven't glued this one down yet. And that's why this is my current work in progress. When I'm done with all 4 of these, I'll have a little series of these little flip books. And I'm excited for them to be done, because I think they're cute. And that brings us to my current venture. This is kind of experimental, because I haven't made a book in this way yet. So I'm hoping that in my next video, I will actually be gluing some stuff into it and showing you the new process I'm attempting. Because I've never done it, and I also haven't seen anybody on YouTube do it like this. So let me show you what I'm talking about. I have pre-painted a whole bunch of pages, the front and back. And with this one, you can see that I have, you know, marked off where I'm going to cut, where it's going to be folded, and I've put the page numbers in there, so it's already collated. So, you know, like when you cut and then fold, this is how the pages are going to be. 1, 2, 3, 4, you know. And I have a lot of different designs going on. These are painted on the front and back. Painting these pages is, I mean, I have more fun painting these pieces of paper than like anything else. Because I just like playing with color, and this is a great excuse to do exactly that. And even though they look really sloppy and messy right now, when they're, you know, cut and assembled into little books, it'll look way nicer. So what I'm planning to do, and then these are, obviously these are 11 by 17 and these are 8.5 by 11. And my plan is to use them all together. It's just that I'll cut them differently. So I'll cut this halfway down and it'll be the same size. You know, cutting this halfway is the same as cutting this quarter way. So here are these paper designs. Ooh, I really like this one. And this is also a great way to get rid of old paint that is getting chunky, and I can't risk using it on like a piece of like fine art or anything. Oh, I have to finish that one. But yeah, so like old paint that isn't in great shape, but you don't want to just toss it because it's a nice color, perfect way to get rid of it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my images, which I keep in here, and I haven't figured out any like spreads or themes yet, but just to like give you an example, pull out some random stuff here. Blah. This isn't organized whatsoever, by the way. I know it looks like it is, but it's not. So what I'm going to do when the time comes is I'm going to go through and pick out my images and my words, and I'll lay them out onto here as it is, cover, you know, like glue everything onto the paper while it's still one big piece. So that way, my goal is to not have anything like hanging off the edges of the pages, and to not have to coat each individual page. Like with these, since I cut the pages before I coated them, you know, obviously I painted the paper first before I cut it, but each page is then coated, you know, so that nothing comes out at all. And it makes each page super duper ripply, and I know that I could do better with the glue that I'm using. Right now I'm using Liquitex gloss medium because it's just what I have on hand, and I would like to invest in something better for paper gluing. But in order to prevent each page having to be individually coated, I want to just like do the whole thing, coat the whole thing, put it on my paper cutter, chop, 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 and then fold and staple, and then have it be done. So it's going to present a whole bunch of new challenges as far as like visualizing stuff in a way that it isn't going to look, you know, visualizing the finished product, because, you know, obviously the pages laid out like this are not in the order that they're going to be in the book. So that's what I hope to tackle in my next video, where I just figure it out. So that's what I'm doing right now. Thank you for making it to the end of this video. I've had a lot of fun showing you what I've made in the past and what I want to make in the future. And let me into your glue book club. I want in. Let me in. I'm coming in. Bye.